Hello, I'm Imaan Choudhry, an incoming sophomore at Westford Academy and a 2025 Summer Intern at the Westford Museum. Today, I will be talking with Emily Teller, who has been named the 2025 Wild Woman of Westford for her devotion, contribution, and outstanding leadership for the town. Hello, Ms. Teller.
Hello. It's nice to be with you, Imaan.
It's nice to be with you as well. You have helped the town in so many different ways. What made you so devoted to just helping the people of Westford?
Well, I think the first thing that goes back in my history is my mother she's been a big influence in me. She was a big influence in me, and she used to say, always leave a place better than you found it. So when I moved here in 1983 to Westford, I had a history of volunteerism, and Marcia Dana asked me to be on the Road and Bush Committee when I had a 5-month-old baby and a 4-year-old, and so I said yes, and that was sort of the beginning of my volunteering. Westford is such a special place. As the town report has 1 page of elected officials and 12 pages of volunteers. So it's in the culture here to volunteer, and I just feel like it's such a special place that it meant a lot to me to try and help.
What drew you to Westford and living here?
We were renting in Acton and wanted to buy a house since we were going to have our second child, and we couldn't afford Acton. So I called a realtor and I said, we'd like a house with character. That was all the information I gave him in Westford. And we had been looking at one house, the old schoolhouse over across from the Cameron Senior Center. And I went to the library to investigate Westford. And at the time, the Westford directories had been printed, but they were all gone. So the library had a copy. And I opened up the blue pages, and it told me a lot about Westford. And I ended up photocopying those to show my husband. And Kathy at the library told me, she's a lifelong resident, she said, the library has an endowment for children's programs. And I thought, okay, this is the perfect place. We need to move here. So we ended up buying a house on a dirt road, which was Texas Road in 1983. And there were 13 houses there. And it just felt like a wonderful place to move. And I got to know all the neighbors in the neighborhood. And it's been fabulous for the last 42 years.
You mentioned that before moving to Westford, you had lots of volunteer work experience. In college, what volunteer work did you do?
Oh, in college, I sang at a church choir that was across the town, the city. I went to a women's college in Roanoke, Virginia, and I sang in the choir because I was a music major on campus, but I also volunteered in this other church. And parenthetically, the minister and one of the men from the couples that I got to know there, an older gentleman, flew up to Pittsburgh and were there for our wedding. So that was pretty important to me. But then I also was involved in the Religious Education, RLA, Religious Life Association. So I didn't do too much in college. But after that, we moved 5 times in the first 18 months we were married. And I was in 5 different junior leagues as a provisional, and then we moved to San Diego. And I joined the league there, and then I started volunteering for the local NPR station, KFSD.
So we read a little bit about your Stop Walmart committee and how you participated in that. What was that experience like in Westford at the time?
It was fantastic. A friend of mine in a book group had heard that something was coming, and she was suspicious that it was Walmart. There was an application for the planning board and for a very large acreage in town. And so she said, in the book group, what if we got a petition at town meeting? We could sit outside and we would have people sign a petition, and they would give us their contact information, which was at the time was home phone numbers. And so that's how it started, and that was Elizabeth Michaud. And she was the chair of a group of 16 of us who just came together because we felt passionate that we did not want a Walmart here. It would change the culture. And so we made all of our decisions over 6 months by consensus. We met in the Mary Kay Atwood room, and one public hearing was so large that they had to change it to the gym at the Abbott School. 600 people came to a planning board hearing, which was unheard of. And there were 2 people who spoke against Walmart the entire time. One was an older gentleman, and one was a teenager who wanted a job. And at the time, Walmart didn't hire teenagers. So we just felt that the money would all go to Arkansas, and Walmart was kind of a big box store that didn't really invest in the culture. And it was wonderful. And the first I knew of any change in their plans was when a reporter from the Wall Street Journal called me and said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Of what?" And they said, "Well, Walmart has pulled out of Westford." And it was a wonderful day. And it was all done by consensus. And then I was the communications coordinator, so I used to send fax copies copies of the Westford Eagle coverage to other places like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Christian Science Monitor, the Globe. Then we ended up being on the ABC News. They came and interviewed a couple of us, and so that was pretty wonderful. But it took the whole town basically showing up to show Walmart that they weren't welcome here.
What's one piece of advice that you want to share with people who want to make a change in their town?
I think get involved and it doesn't really matter at the beginning what you do, but there are so many opportunities. The website in Westford, for example, has listings of the vacancies in all those volunteer committees and boards. And if you just join one, pretty soon you'll get to know other people and you'll feel more comfortable and your work will be appreciated. You can do it that way, or even there's a group that's been started called Westward Women's Voices, and last year we recruited and supported one woman who had never run for anything in town. That was Noelle Donovan, who was a fifth-generation Westford, and then two women who ran for school committee, and another woman who ran for her fourth term for Board of Health. So step out there. You're adequate. Whatever you do will be welcome and appreciated and helpful, so just do it. One more thing. Don't say yes to anything that you don't feel passionate about, because it will always take longer than you think. But if you're passionate, you can give your gifts and it'll be great.
You mentioned the Women's Voices, Westford Women's Voices. What is the group's goal and why was the group made? The
group was initially conceived by two of us, Christy Bates and me, and then we asked other people to join our planning committee, and we really wanted to get, and still want to get in the future, this coming year and other years, more women in leadership roles in Westford, because we feel that women's voices are not represented. We also would very much like to get people of color, women of color involved, and in some cases that's not really in their culture. So we want to not only recruit women by telling them that they're good enough, whatever they can do, they're good enough, they have what's needed, and also support them during the pre-election and election, and then support them afterwards. Sometimes women need child care, they need all kinds of things, so we would like to be able to support them. But it's really important that our boards and committees have people of color, women of color, and more women to be the voices representing our whole constituency. And we worked 1 year and we haven't really come up with a mission statement that's clear yet, but my sense is that we want progressive women who are progressive.
Other than the one lady who has never worked on the board, is there any other woman that you have helped come into positions of power in Westford?
Well, I was involved in recruiting Deanie Healy-Coffin, who was one of the 12 select board members, and Elizabeth Almeida. I significantly helped her, and she had never run for office either. Deanie had served on other boards, but Elizabeth had never run. And one of the things I patched her into, which was pretty exciting, is I called Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women, and they had never endorsed a local candidate. They endorsed state candidates. But I said that's really where it all begins, at the local level. So they interviewed her, and they did endorse her the year she ran, Elizabeth Almeida. So that was kind of exciting. And I'm always encouraging women to run for things and do things, because it's so great to know people.
Another group that you're involved in is Westford Climate Action. When did you join, and what pushed you to join?
I've always been concerned about the environment, and I think there was a representative from a Massachusetts group that came and spoke at the library. Carol Morse and Beth Perkins, I think, brought that person, and perhaps Lynn Cohen, brought that person to talk about the environment and our electric use and what we can do to help, and what the state was already working on. So I went to that meeting at the library, which was just informational, but then I decided to stay afterwards, and we sort of talked about a next meeting, and I continued with that. And so that was probably 4 years ago, because we've done 2 Earth Days on the Common. This was the group that passed a resolution at town meeting asking the select board to appoint a clean energy and sustainability committee. And what they did is they converted the electric committee, which was Mike Berlinski was chair of that. They converted that into a more open and large clean energy and sustainability committee that is an official committee of the town. So we at the town meeting, we asked them to form that committee, which they did. And then we've just done other things. We encourage the town to increase the options in the aggregate electrical business and municipal contract so that people could opt up and get 100% or 50% of clean energy. So it's a great committee. We've also had speakers. We had a wonderful speaker, 2 different speakers from MIT Haystack come and talk, and we have done peer panels on solar, electricity, and EVs and stuff. And we have an electric vehicle, I'm glad to say. So it's just been a commitment of ours for a long time.
Is there any other steps that you wished Westford could take to help the climate?
Well, they have a roadmap, 2050, and that lays out things that the town has agreed to do. I think finances are a huge part of this that limit what the town can do, but perhaps grants can be obtained. Sadly, they eliminated a sustainability coordinator position, but Mike Edwards is supposedly taking over that. So I think it's a financial commitment. I would like to see more EVs in terms of the town cars and the police vehicles. It's difficult at this point in 2025 to have trucks from the highway department be EVs. But that's one thing. I think solar panels on all of our municipal buildings would be fabulous because that's an easy, passive way that we can be greener. And I think heat pumps in all new buildings is also something new. The library has had heat pumps for a long time, since the 80s, thanks to Ellen Rainville's prescience. But I just think using the equipment that's out there and will continue to be out there is important for the town.
Recently, in the last 2 years, we saw that you were named 2023 Commonwealth Heroine. What was that experience like?
Humbling, just like this one, be a wild woman of Westford. I knew about it because I had helped Jim Arciero nominate Elizabeth Almeida again. And I just was very surprised and humbled and very pleased. There are 351 towns, and each of the legislators can nominate somebody from their district. So there were over 100 women that day in Boston. But it was quite an honor, and it meant a lot. It meant a lot of awareness of what I'd done, and I was in a good company of many other women.
With all you've done, do you think it has helped shape you into who you are today?
Definitely, definitely. I think the role models that I've met in my volunteering have meant a lot to me, and they've taught me a lot. But it's also an awareness that it's not just me. It's not just a couple of us. Every one of the efforts that I put time and energy and a skill into has been in a group setting. It's not something I've done alone. And in Walmart and in the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, it's been townfuls of people who've voted at town meeting, who've contacted their legislators. But it definitely has shaped me to be more aware of how much other people can give and how skilled and kind and passionate many people are to make a difference in our world, and I hope that continues.
You mentioned that you had some mentors. What were some of the most important mentors in your life that helped you get to this point?
Well, my mom, first of all, because she was a volunteer for the Heart Fund, for the United Way, and for the Red Cross, and she was one of the first female PTO leaders when I was in elementary school. And I have a wonderful picture of her in our local paper of sitting with the superintendents and the other officers, and she's the only woman in the middle. And I just cherish that picture. I think also Deanie Healy-Coffin and Ellen Hardy and Elizabeth Almeida here have all shown me how easy it is to step out and just take responsibility, and others will follow. Oh, I also have a friend, Laura Breeden, who I met, I think before the Walmart. Ellen Hardy was Person of the Year, and I went to her celebration, and I met, I think, Elizabeth Michaud and Laura at that point. So they were both instrumental in my future. But Laura has just recently been named to the Internet Tech Hall of Fame. And she has done amazing things with the Department of Commerce and spreading stimulus funds throughout hospitals and libraries throughout the country. And right now she's working for Indivisible Westford to form some local groups. Indivisible United States, sorry, not Westford. We have an Indivisible Westford here.
Is there anything else that you would like to add that we didn't get to?
No, I think your questions have been wonderful, Imaan.
Thank you.
I think the rail trail is a pretty significant thing. After Walmart, I said to myself, if I never do anything else in my life, this is a pretty good legacy to have helped with. But then joined the Friends of the Bruce Beaman Rail Trail in 2004. And it's been wonderful to see the different phases be built and constructed and appreciated by regional riders and each of the town's residents too. Yeah, it's a great resource, and I'm really happy. And it has taken, there are 16 board members, and again, we're all volunteers, and any money that people donate goes right to amenities and expenses and things like that, not to us. But it's a wonderful group of people, and it's taken other people in each of our towns to really make it happen. And I just have to appreciate the highway department and the planning department here. The highway department keeps our segment in Westford wonderfully clean and pruned.
We saw that you were a singer and that you've been a singer in high school as well in the choir. What's your favorite piece of music?
It's not choral, although I do have a favorite choral one, which is Sure on This Shining Night. I don't know who the composer is, but my favorite piece of music is Mendelssohn's Overture to A Midsummer Night's Dream, which he wrote when he was 17, which is amazing to me. But it musically portrays the fairies and Tatiana and Oberon and just the whole mystical Shakespeare play, so I could listen to that forever.
What is one thing that people might not know about you?
Well, one thing is I love being a grandmother, and I don't really talk about that very much, but my son Casey has 2 children who are very precious to me, Jackson, who's now about to be 15, and Mackenzie, who's 13 and a half. And just from the day they were born, it's just been a wonderful ride and a wonderful experience learning from them and just loving them. Our minister, Cindy Worthington Berry, who used to be at First Parish, used to say when she baptized babies and she had their grandparents stand up, do you promise to give them abundant playtime, unconditional love, abundant playtime, and sanctuary in your very arms? And that's kind of my job description.
Thank you so much for your time. And again, congratulations.
Thank you very much. And I accept this humbly.
And thanks for joining us today in the podcast. We look forward to seeing all of you for the Westford Wild Women of Westford event on Friday, September 12th at 7 p.m. in the Westford Museum. Tickets are available at museum.westford.org. Thank you.
It'll be a fun night. Always has been.
I'm looking forward to it.